point per game scorer. Let me remind y'all of who the hell Kevin Durant is. He is one of the prolific, one of the elite scorers the game of basketball has ever seen. Ever. So when he takes the time to sit back and explain exactly what is transpiring while he has the ball in his hands, he is not to be insulted. He is to be appreciated for that. And anybody in the media who would denigrate him for explaining things the way he broke it down yesterday should be ashamed of themselves. We ask for truth. We ask for an education. We ask for somebody to provide their insight and their honest perspective about the game. That's what the hell he gave us. And we should be appreciative of it. Because I know I am. I appreciated him breaking down. Patrick Beverley's a pest. Patrick Beverley's getting up under me. But ladies and gentlemen, you also got somebody waiting in the lane in case I put the ball on the floor and try to take him off the dribble, because that's not going to work to my advantage. He's saying all of these things. And while he's saying all of these things, he's not wrong about that. Here's where I disagree with Kevin Durant, albeit respectfully. You are KD. We know who you are. You damn right we know who you are. And because we know who you are, Kevin Durant, everything ain't always about the game plan from start to finish. See, the part where I can sit up there and I can argue, if I had the luxury of doing so, if I could argue with Kevin Durant, here's where I could argue about it. You trying to tell me under no circumstances has there ever been a point in your career where it's like, give me the ball and move the hell out the way. I got this. You might not be able to do that in other respective sports, team sports that is, but you damn sure could do that in basketball. You could do it in basketball. Plays break down. Cats are not stepping up. Your personnel ain't responding the way that they're supposed to. All of this stuff is going on. There are moments on a basketball court where strategy goes out the window, where it comes down to you being the supreme being that you are, reminding folks of that. There's a reason why Kevin Durant is walking into this summer looking forward to free agency. Do you have any idea, ladies and gentlemen, there's no discussion as to whether or not he gets the max. Who's going to talk to Kevin Durant about not getting the max? If you don't come to him with the max, you're wasting his time. I don't care whether you're Golden State or you're somebody else. Every dollar that you put on the table had better be the most you can offer. Because everybody and their mother knows if that ain't the case, you are wasting Kevin Durant's time. Because he's that great. And when you're that great, that's how it rolls for you. So what I'm saying to you is, that's Kevin Durant. That's not Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley, ladies and gentlemen, is in the last year of a deal making $5 million. Kevin Durant has already pocketed over $300 to $400 million in his career. And he's about to get at least 150 to 200 more. And we're just talking basketball there. We ain't even talking about the rest of the stuff. If everybody is equal, and see, this is the part where I disagree with some of these stars. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and everybody else in between. Respectfully, I disagree with them. And I say respectfully because they're playing the game. I'm not. They're trying to win. I'm not playing. They're great at what they do, even though I am great at what I do. But you know what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that they're the ones on the court. So you can disagree with them, but still be deferential to them because they warrant, have garnered, and deserve that level of respect. My only retort to their respective positions would be this. Tell me there's never been a time in your career where strategy and team and all of that stuff conceptually and schematically doesn't get thrown out the window simply because your talent is superior to someone else's. I'm saying that applies here. You are Kevin Durant. You're going against the Clippers tonight at the Staples Center. I expect Kevin Durant to destroy whoever is in his path. He's Kevin Durant. I know who you are. Y'all know who he is. You damn right we do. He's Kevin Durant. And I don't have to go to Steve Kerr or anything like that. I'm simply saying he's so surreal and so elite as a talent. Simply playing along and following the game plan sometimes isn't good enough. And when it isn't good enough, the reason why Kevin Durant is getting paid $30 million and Patrick Beverley is getting paid $5 million is because Kevin Durant can say, okay, damn strategy. John JC is sort of like me. There are people who do this job and do it quite well. They have energy. They have information. They're entertaining. They do all of these things. But there's levels to this. There are a lot of folks. And then there's a class that Stephen A is in. I believe. Everybody can't beat me, for better or worse. So I say it, JC. I'm sorry I sound so cocky. It's just true. I think sometimes gotta toot your own horn. Everybody can't beat me. And so as a result of that, guess what? Everybody can't beat KD. And tonight, nobody needs to be KD. That's my personal belief. But I respect what he broke down. And he wasn't wrong. And more importantly than anything, we should be grateful and appreciative that he explained it. Because the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, when you on the level of KD, you don't have to explain. So I'm personally extending a hand of gratitude to him. And I'm thankful to him for explaining what he explained. Because he wasn't lying. He broke it down. And that's basketball talk. He said he just wanted to play basketball and talk basketball and was getting irritated with everybody talking about free agency. And then you know what he did? He came out, and that's exactly what he did. He talked to us about basketball. We can have those conversations all day. Damn free agency, July. We'll get to that after the season. Kevin Durant and these other stars talk basketball like that. We owe it to them to focus on basketball when they educating us like that. I love that. I really, really do. And I'm grateful to him for talking to us about that. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. We'll get to your phone calls and more before my man Mel Kiper Jr. comes on to jumpstart hour number 2 right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, when you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes, do you? You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. Milwaukee's relevant. Pittsburgh and St. Louis winning their share of games. The Los Angeles Dodgers and San Diego Padres with Manny Machado are tied for first place. I like that. But right now, the story of the baseball season, this young baseball season, thus far has been the Boston Red Sox and how pathetic they have looked thus far. Thus far. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I want to get into something more. Uh-oh. Molly Curran, my host. She walked up in it. What's up, girl? How are you doing?
I was going to say hi. You didn't
Listen,
run out of steam yet?
excuse me.
Hello,
that's
everybody.
right. You got to. You can't just walk into studio, Molly Curran, and
Right.
just talk to me.
It's
There's
you.
a national audience. They have to hear you.
Hello, everybody. How are we? This is your snack?
Excuse me. Why you got to tell me? Why you got to tell my
Stephen A.
business?
Jack.
Listen, why you got
This
to?
was like my lunchbox in the third grade.
This is my favorite. Why you got to do
You're
this?
trying to get in shape.
Look, I am. That's why I'm cheating a little
Oh
bit. You
my
have to
gosh,
show the
we
world
had
I'm
DK
cheating.
Metcalf on the show today, posting pictures in his abs, and you said you were about to take it seriously.
That's right, but that's tonight, not today, Molly.
And I
Not
love
today.
how you have him hidden and ashamed. All right, I'm leaving you alone. I
you
just
just
wanna
go-
say.
you gonna
so
walk
this is
into
it,
the-
where they do the Stephen A.
This is
Smith
where
show.
they do the Stephen A. Smith show. I got you know they do another show in here. Did you ever hear of Jalen and Jacoby show?
I have. I've heard
You ever heard of that show?
I've heard
I mean,
of it.
they do that show right here in the
Yeah.
studio too.
Yeah, and
Did
you
you
both
know?
have the special talent of being able to talk all day.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Well, he would actually, you don't know that about me. You only know it from me for a
Yeah,
couple of
okay.
hours. With him,
4
you would know it all
hours a
day.
4 a day. Never
That's
run out
right.
of steam.
That's right.
Bye, everybody.
You
Have
know
a great
what?
day.
I'm bringing you back on. We're going to have a Mollywood segment up
I would
on this
love
show.
it. I want to do the relationship segment.
Really?
Yeah.
So can I be the love doctor? Will you do that?
Yeah, you can be.
All right. And you can
I'll be the love police and help
and you
everyone.
can critique my advice.
I'd love it. Anytime.
Give me a high five on that. We're gonna
I'll see you in the
you're gonna
morning.
critique my advice. The wonderful, lovely, incomparable Molly Karam interrupts my radio show, but she can do that. She can get away with doing that. Nobody else can pull that off. But she can do it. I will allow that. Anyway, I digress. For good reason, by the way, because I love Molly.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
ESPN Radio, ESPN News. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and your car insurance. 888-SAY-ESPN. That is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Let's get right to it. By the way, big game tonight. Barclays Center, Brooklyn Nets hosting the Philadelphia 76ers game 3 of their first round Eastern Conference first round playoff series. I will be in attendance. Can't wait to see that one tonight. It's going to be interesting. I think they'll split the next 2 games. They go back to Philadelphia for game 5. Series tied 2-2. That's my personal opinion. But anyway, let's get right to it. Let's go to Scott. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A., how are you?
I'm all right. Talk to me.
You know, it's odd. It's not often, but I find myself almost, finding athletes, in this case in particular, Kevin Durant. I have empathy for the young man.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest with you. I think he's shown incredible reserve, incredible calm. I can't even imagine what it is like to be the focus of an interview, a news group, a panel, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and constantly being barraged with hypothetical after hypothetical,
Yeah.
and keeping your cool throughout. I mean, for lack of better terms.
Well, one of the criticisms about him is that he hasn't kept his cool nearly enough. I don't find him to be as bad as people try to make him out to be. They want to call him sensitive as if it's a weakness or whatever. You just get annoyed with answering certain questions and what have you, and he usually answers them. And I find him to be one of the extremely decent individuals in sports. Can he complain a little bit too much at times? It appears. Does he appear to be a bit too sensitive at times? Over the wrong things, maybe. But listen, his mama, his family, and the people that he keeps in his inner circle. You got a bunch of core decent people, and it's not an accident because Kevin Durant is a really, really decent dude.
Yeah, but you have to understand also there's a very fine line between asking a question and badgering.
I agree.
When you're badgered, your back goes up. And who is asking him to apologize? I mean, obviously on a much grander scale, this gentleman is a W-2 employee. No one's holding a gun to an owner's head. Why should he be put in a position of apologizing? And respectfully,
well, wait a minute. He didn't apologize for anything, though. He didn't need to apologize. He just went into explaining basketball. And that's what I loved about it. Because, Scott, we might think we know, but unless you're on that court going up against that competition directly, nobody has more insight than you. And so as a result of that, his willingness to explain, what I loved about it is that I think more athletes should take the time to do what Kevin Durant did. I think they should take the time to enlighten pundits and reporters and the viewing public. Look, this is what we're dealing with here. This is what we're facing on this basketball court. This might be a reason why I took this many shots. This might be a reason I'm getting called for these fouls and all of those kind of things. So to provide that nuance and talk about the game of basketball, I think some of the problems that I have, because I think that I'm an incredibly fair interviewer, no matter what I feel and how I explain and present and portray myself in giving commentary. If you notice anything about me, Scott, I'm entirely different when it comes to the interview. Because with the interview, I only focus on asking the questions that I believe people want to know and getting an answer to those questions, as opposed to actually judging the answer. You see what I'm saying?
Difference is the huge difference between yourself and so many of your colleagues is that so many of your colleagues ask a question with the mindset of what the response should be. Mm-hmm. And if the response differs from what the poser thought or thinks the answer should be, mm-hmm. you are on the, quote, spit list forever, and they are going to castigate you and criticize you because you did not answer the way they wanted you to answer.
While me, I don't give a damn what the answer is, as long as it's an honest and authentic answer relevant to the question. That's all I care about, and then we judge accordingly. But I have no problem. I don't look for a particular answer. So you're absolutely right about that, Scott.
Way too many questions are asked with
I got you.
A predetermined answer in mind.
Good point. Appreciate the call, Scott. Please continue to listen to the show. Please continue to call in. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate that. Let's go to Dave. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm really a big Kevin Durant fan. If Kevin Durant got into this little childish game with Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams would be scoring like 60 points. So I think he's conscious of that. I think Lou Williams and that other young man, I just now seen him play this year, like the first two games, that 6'10" guy.
Okay.
Those guys are playing some great ball. Mr. Smith, I respect you, that's all. But Kevin Durant, to me, is trying to really be the Bill Russell of this NBA, because this NBA is not like the 70s, 80s.
Well, time. What do you mean, the Bill Russell? Explain.
I think he's really starting to mature. He came out of Texas the first, like in 1 year, mm-hmm. and I think Kevin at this point is very mature, and I think Kevin Durant is also the best player in the NBA.
Well, let's say let's say this though. Kevin Durant, here's where I would disagree with you. Kevin Durant actually seemed a bit more composed in the earlier part of his career than he is now. It's almost like he got tired of internalizing and holding things in, so now he exhales more and he comes across as complaining more. So I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Ain't that like a corporation? Shouldn't they be respected like some of those, corporations?
No. I don't agree with you in that respect. Let's say, for example, if I were a Wall Street reporter, right? Let's say, for example, I was a reporter covering Wall Street. Like, for example, one of my favorite shows, obviously Power with Amari Hardwick and those boys for the Starz Network. I can't wait till it comes back on the air. It's one of my top two favorite shows. You know what my other favorite show is? Billions with Paul Giamatti and those boys. It is a phenomenal show on Showtime every Sunday night, okay? Watch the show. You got certain people that are covering hedge funds. They're covering Wall Street, right? They're covering state attorney generals or the prosecutor's office and things of that nature. How you interview them and how you probe into their business is fair game, because that's your beat. That's what you cover. If you're covering basketball, just because somebody is making $300 million or worth $500 million or more, like LeBron is, doesn't mean that you don't get to cover basketball. You still made it because you showed up on the court and put your gifts on display. And as a result, that's a component of who you are. So it's perfectly within somebody's right to watch them play basketball and judge them accordingly. It's not within somebody's right to talk about people's personal business. It's not within somebody's right because you play basketball or you're in the public eye to be talking about you and your wife and your mom and your family and all. I think that's beyond the pale. But as long as you stick to the business at hand and talk about what directly affects and impacts one's performance on the basketball court, there's no problem with that.
That's why I'm going to tell you that you always on top of your game, Mr. Smith. but Kevin Durant is a bad basketball player.
He
I
is.
love his game.
Oh, he's a real
and
deal.
I respect you,
He's a real
Mr.
gem.
Smith.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We'll come back with more of your phone calls in a minute before we start off hour number 2 with the great Mel Kiper Jr. So stick around. Don't touch that dial. Here I come. By the way, if you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast, brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% on grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey, hey!